Real estate is one of the simplest ways to build long-term wealth, and one of the easiest ways to get wrecked if you don't know what you're doing. So this show, it exists for one main reason: clarity. Me and Keith, we're talking deals, markets, financing, flips, all of it, but always through the lens of what's working, what isn't working, and why. I'm your host, Dayton Lindsey, and I promise you that this podcast is going to help you save time, money, and you from painful lessons. So, let's get into this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the First Deal podcast. I think this is episode 12 now. I think that's how many we've done so far. So we're doing pretty good. And again, as always, I am joined by the tall, ruggedly handsome man from Florida, Keith Gillispie. You've given me enough praise. I got to give it back. I got to give it back.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it. Hey, anybody who's listening to this, episode 12, make sure to ask us questions because we don't have enough of them and we can always use more. And we plan these like multiple weeks in advance, 2 to 3 weeks in advance. So if you have any questions, drop it in a comment and we'll answer them. At least to the best of my ability, I'll answer it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because as much as I can find the questions, like I'm not really in the trenches with the community at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future I will be, but at this point I'm researching questions for your guys' benefit. So I would really appreciate you guys posting your questions so we can answer real life scenarios, because there will always be just different scenarios that are going to occur in everyday's life, because nothing's really ever stays the same. But speaking of questions,
question number one.
And this is going to be tenant / lease space today. So the question is, what screening criteria actually predicts a good tenant? Do you have any screening criteria? Because I would imagine you do. You don't just give
hate me for this?
A rent house renting.
So if anybody has ever wondered if Dayton preps me for these questions or we talk about them ahead of time,
absolutely
rest
not.
assured, he does not tell me anything. So I have no idea what he's going to ask me. And so far, it hasn't flopped. I'll try to answer this one and add some value. But the truthful answer is I don't self-manage my properties, and I have property management companies that manage 100% of my rentals. That being said, when I was interviewing my property management companies, I asked them questions like this to determine whether or not they knew their stuff. And I've taken courses and read books and stuff like this. So the answer to your question, the correct answer to your question is, number one, do they have a job? Do they have the same job that they had 2 years ago? If the answer to that is yes, you have a very high likelihood that they are going to be a paying tenant. So there's two things that you care about as a landlord. The first is you're going to pay me every first of the month. And second is you're going to take good care of my property. You're not going to trash it. So what is the most important question, or the data point that you can gather from each of these? The first one is, do you have the same job that you had 2 years ago? If the answer to that is yes, then the likelihood of them paying on time, as long as, if they're making $4,000 per month and your rent is $2,300, don't do that. Never. I think the number that I go for is no more than 40. I don't like to see more than 40% of their income going towards their rent. The moment we go over 40%, it's a huge red flag. I won't do it.
Okay.
Unless it's subsidized. So I do Section 8. And at this point, we don't really care what they're making at their job, because their money it's government subsidized. Like the government is paying me. And the city, in some cases, like we have one family that's displaced due to a fire. And so the city of Syracuse is subsidizing a portion. I think it's like 10 or 15% or 20% of I guess I could figure it out. It's 323 over 1616. Hey, those are the exact numbers. I get paid $323 from the city of Syracuse for a house that I'm renting for 1616. Maybe it's 1615, which is 20%. So the city is 20%, and then Section 8, which is government assistance, is 80%. Therefore, it's 100% subsidized. So I didn't really care about this person's job. However, they did have the same job that they had 2 years ago. That's the first thing that you care about. And then the second thing is, are they going to take good care of your house? This is super simple. Call up their last landlord and ask them, would you rent to them again? Did they take proper care of your property? Were they a pain in the ass to deal with? Did they pay on time, and did they leave it in order? And if you're satisfied with those results, I think that that's kind of the 80-20. Could we go down a rabbit hole and create a 10-step questionnaire that gets us to maybe 90%? Sure. But those two questions, those are the things that I and every landlord care about. Number one, are you going to pay me? Number two, are you going to trash the property?
Okay. And yeah, that makes sense. Like, that is definitely the most, I would imagine, the most worrisome for a landlord or the owner of the home, let's say, because landlords aren't always, or not landlords. I was thinking of, property management, not landlord. I was thinking about property management, because you mentioned that at the beginning, that property management, your property manager guys typically do all the screening for new tenants. And I know my uncle is that way, but he actually works more as a property manager now.
Okay.
So, but I was going to go off on a tangent that absolutely had no relative relevance to this conversation. So, but anyways, so this next one I have for you might come as a dumb question. And if it is, we can end the conversation there and just be like, next. That was a dumb question, Dayton. But how do you price rent to fill fast without underpricing? Because one of the biggest worries when it comes to, say, fix and flippers, or when you rehab and you want to find a tenant, it costs money to leave it empty. So I would imagine you want to find the good tenant as fast as possible. But do you want to price the rent that it's a little bit higher so you get like good, I want to say not good, but more serious tenants that are like, hey, I really need a place and I need to, and that's not what I was going for. I really need a place, and I'm willing to pay a higher price. Yeah, like a higher quality tenant is what I was going for, so versus the lower rent for a lower quality.
The answer lies within who your tenants are. So let's split tenants into 4 categories. Well, it's really 3 categories, which is short-term, mid-term, long-term. And then of long-term, you have fair market rent and you have Section 8 rent, right? And then like mid-term would be, there's like niche specific where I'm housing contractors, I'm housing doctors, I'm housing whatever. And then short-term tenants is like I'm Airbnb-ing it, and it's, people going to Disney World or whatever. So we're going to not talk about short-term or mid-term, and we're going to talk about long-term. Splitting up long-term, there's 2 different type of people that you're going to be renting to. The first one is Section 8 tenants, and the second one is fair market tenants, which is just a regular old Joe Blow like you and I. No assistance, no government assistance. With Section 8, they don't care about the price. Therefore, there's a website. It's a huduser.gov/FMR or something like that. I'm pretty sure this is correct. huduser.gov FMR, which stands for fair market rent. And so what you're going to do is you're going to select your state, then you're going to select your county, and then you're going to select your zip code, and then you're going to select how many bedrooms you have, and it's going to tell you exactly what Section 8 is going to subsidize up to. So can you go above that? Certainly, but Section 8 is not going to overpay. They're already paying more than fair market value, typically, in most cases. So I don't recommend going above that number, but that number is honestly way good. Typically, like if, for example, if fair market rent is $1,200, then Section 8 might be like $1,500 or $1,600. So they're already paying a fair bit higher than fair market rent. Don't go higher than whatever that zip code says that you can. If your house is a 3-bedroom, then whatever that number is, that's exactly the number that you rent it out for. Even if it's a weird number. If it's $1,700, if it's $1,713, you're going to list that sucker for $1,713 because they don't care about the price. The government is subsidizing it for them. Now, let's go fair market. With fair market rent, I use a company called Rentometer. And what I do, it shows you the low, the high, the median, and the average. We're going to get a little bit nerdy here and go back to grade school, where the low and the high is super easy. What is the lowest rent that was ever listed? What was the highest rent that was ever listed? Then we're going to look at the median. The median is the middle one. And the average is you're going to take the sum, you're going to add up all of the rentals, and you're going to divide by however many you had. The median and the average are always going to be different numbers. Not always, but most of the time. They're going to be different numbers. Take the lower of them and then round to a nice number. For example, if the median was 1820 and the average was 1842, then I would go with the median at 1820, and then I would round that down to 1800. This is going to make you competitive against everybody else. And at the end of the day, think about this one thing that I'm going to tell you. This is a huge secret. Think about what your mortgage payment is on this house. If you're renting it for $1,800, it's probably at least $1,000, if not $1,200, maybe even $1,500. Think about how many months you have to keep one person in there with no additional expenses to make up for 1 month of holding costs. Let's attach some real numbers to this. If I have it listed at $1,800 versus I have it listed at $1,900, and I could get it rented out like in 1 month at $1,800, but it's going to take me 2 months to find somebody at $1,900. I am here to tell you the majority of the time, I would rather get that tenant at $1,800. Here's the reason why. Because if the mortgage is, for example, $1,500, and the difference between these two is $100, right? Between $1,800 and $1,900. The difference is $100 is going to take me 15 months to make up for that 1 month of holding costs paying that mortgage.
Oh, okay.
So speed kills all deals, right? I should say time kills all deals. And so speed of implementation, speed of execution, whatever you want to call it, is so, so important. And getting that house listed and rented is so, so important. Filling it fast is really important. Now, of course, I'm not saying that you should just throw any old buddy in there and not really pre-screen them or anything. That really is, your property management company's job. But pricing it just a little bit less than what the rest of your market is. And most of the time, it really is going to be 20, 40, 60. It's going to be less than $100 most of the time. And therefore, because of that, if you look at the big picture of what does 1 month cost me? Well, it cost me 15 months. Let's get it rented now.
Okay. Yeah, that was a good take on it. I like that. Quick aside, if you're getting value out of this, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below with what you want Keith and me to cover next. It helps the channel out a lot, and it tells us what you want to learn about. Anyways, back to the video. What systems make leasing easy? Like showing rate or showings applications, verifications. What systems make leasing easy?
Again, I'll say this with a caveat of I have a property management company that does literally everything for me. But I'm madly in love with my property management company. Both of the owners are partners of mine, and I look up to them both because they are investors. And we have meetings, I'd say at least once a month, if not even twice a month, where we just kind of sit and talk for an hour. And it's not like a scheduled thing. It's kind of like, hey, do you have time on Friday? You know, well, I'll hop on a Zoom. But I really respect these guys. And I would say of all the systems, which they have turned this into a huge company, and they have hundreds and hundreds of units under management in their company. The most important thing by far is getting eyeballs on the house. Get as many people as humanly, just traffic. You need eyeballs. You don't have eyeballs. Eyeballs is time. The more eyeballs, the less time. The less eyeballs, the more time. Also, eyeballs is opportunities. You get to collect that. It's a lead, right? It just like it is for us on the acquisition side. When we have first name, last name, phone, and email address. Just because they didn't rent that one house doesn't mean that they're not going to rent the one that you have coming up in 2 weeks or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's really important to get as many people interested in these houses, get them to the houses and collecting their information along the way. That's super, super, super important. Logging that in a CRM and then retargeting them. If they didn't, let's say that you send 60 people out to the house. How many people are going to get the application? One. Only one person is going to move into the house. So keeping those other 59 who are obviously serious enough about finding a place that they took the time out of their Sunday afternoon to go drive and walk the house. Those are the people that you should have on a retargeting campaign that gets future properties moved very quickly. And I have personally benefited from the system that they have in place of, hey, yeah, we send out a email blast. It's going to go out to, anywhere between 2,000 to 3,000 people at any given time. We're going to flood your house with prospective tenants. And well, I'll tell you, we're doing some renovations to it right now. We should lease up around March 1st or so. And I bet you it won't take more than a week or two to get it filled because they have so many eyeballs on the house. Yeah.
So it kind of sounds like showings is basically the foundations of the system that makes leasing easy.
Yeah.
Because if you want eyeballs on it, then you are going to need to show it to a lot of people. So it sounds like showing.
And if you want good people, the more people you have through the funnel, the more opportunity you have to be kind of nitpicky, a little bit selective on who you put in the house. It's people have probably heard this many times already, but it's a numbers game. You need to put as many people through the top of the funnel as possible.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You know what, Keith? I think this is the first time we've gotten through all my questions that I had planned for this episode.
This is record time. Look at that. Before 20 minutes. Wow.
Before 20 minutes. That's definitely a new record. We've definitely not gotten to the end because we always have you always go off on a tangent.
I know.
Which I appreciate, but it's like, oh God, I'm not going to get through my questions in time.
It's too easy when I'm not the one who's doing it, though. The property management company really is so good. So good. It's so important to have the right property management company. If you don't, your property management company will absolutely wreck you.
All right.
Or make your bonus
question. Screening for a good property management company. What is your criteria?
Here's the real hack. Don't do it yourself. Have people who have way more units under management than you tell you where to go. The ultimate hack. You can call all the property management companies that you want and you can screen them and you'll probably get a good one. But realistically, if you can find 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 investors from like a local RIA type of scenario who own a bunch of houses, and let's define that. Let's say a bunch is defined as 20 or more. Like in any market, 20 houses in one MSA, metropolitan statistical area, you're doing pretty good, right? And especially if you have like 50 or 100 or 200 units all in one MSA, you're knowledgeable. Like you carry a lot of weight. And so that's what I did. I just found the biggest buy and hold investor, and you can see this stuff, by the way. You can use software companies where REI Automated is actually in the middle of creating its own right now. And so it's going to be called DealBase, and it's not ready, so I can't really promote it on the podcast right now. However, I will tell you that it's been inspired by two really good companies. One of them is called DealBase, and one of them is called not DealBase.
I was gonna say it's kind of in the name there.
Yeah.
DealBase, DealBase.
Ours is
maybe
DealBase.
branding issue.
So ours is DealBase, and we took half of each of the two companies that inspired me. One of them was Investor Base, and one of them was Investor Lift. And so we took DealBase and Investor Lift kind of to create these two. And our product obviously is going to be better than theirs. But for the time being, I love both of them. And I know the owners of both of these companies. And you can go and use their software to see the biggest buy and hold companies that are in your area by zip code, by county, by city, whatever. And you can see how many assets do they own, where are they, what is their portfolio value, so on and so forth. All of this is public records, right? And so use that. That's the hack. That's the secret. Like reverse engineer this process. Go call them up, skip trace them, call them and say, hi, I have a house. If you don't mind, I'm an investor looking for 3 minutes of your advice. I have a rental house. I've never put under property management. I'm looking for a great property manager. Do you mind giving me a referral? I can see, I've done some research on you. I can see that you own 113 properties or so in the area. Would you mind telling me your favorite property management? And because some of the times these guys will break them up. You have 20, you have 80, you have 30, or whatever it is, you know? Like sometimes property management companies are a little bit like whatever. They're kind of picky with, oh, we only do these zip codes and we don't do those zip codes because it's too far for our people, whatever. Great. So they'll split it up. That's fine. Which one of them is your favorite? And so it happened to be the guys that I reached out to ask this question. They said, oh, well, that's easy. We have our own property management company. Dope. So you, the investor, also own the property management company. Yes, that's correct. Fantastic. Would you manage my property for me? You know, when somebody there, man, there's a stupid saying about like smoking your own dope or whatever, or like you're on your own stash. It's like it's some sort of a drug dealing thing where it's like if you're smoking your own dope, you know that it's not laced with anything bad. You know that it's good. So if they are managing their own properties and they are the investor, they can't suck. Otherwise, they would have a nightmare all the freaking time.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So that's how I found it.
Nice. Yeah, that definitely put into perspective for me for the with the drug dealer analogy. Oh yes, I understand that now. Perfect. Just think like a drug dealer. Oh, if I wouldn't have my own product.
Hey, you know what? I don't agree with it, and I don't condone drugs or anything, but I'll tell you what. Drug dealers are some of the best entrepreneurs out there because what are they really good at?
They're good businessmen.
They're good marketing, fulfillment, relationships, referrals. I mean, literally, they are the epitome of what you should be doing. Just leave it.
Yep. If you've taken anything from this episode, make the number one takeaway that if you want to become an entrepreneur, become a drug lord. If you want good communication skills, become a drug lord. If you want to move good product, become a...
So
I might make that the title of the episode.
I won't name them in the podcast, but I have several friends.
Words.
Now that I think about it, like actually a lot of my entrepreneurial friends that own businesses in the real estate investing firm or like sector have at some point in time been affiliated with drugs.
No.
And they've like totally changed their ways and they're clean and everything like that. Thank God. But legitimately, it does teach you a lot of things that can be good. Sales, marketing, referrals, fulfillment, relationships, the whole shebang. All right. Let's end it on that note. If you guys have any questions that you want answered.
Yeah, I agree. Let's end it there. End off on a high note. Real estate isn't magic. It's a skill. And the people who win long term are the ones that keep stacking the reps. That means learning, analyzing, staying patient, and making good decisions. If you want to keep building that skill with us, make sure to subscribe and send this to someone who needs to hear it, because I know you know someone that needs to. Anyways, that's all for today. Take care.